What if I told you Ice Age Europeans had secrets? Secrets that could rewrite history. For years, we've seen them as simple hunters, just trying to survive. But what if they had an advanced survival code, hidden symbols, and knowledge we've barely begun to understand? They mapped the stars, created mysterious symbols, and passed down secrets still in our DNA. And here's the shocking part. Some of their secrets are still buried beneath ice, waiting to be uncovered. But what if I told you that one discovery could change everything we thought we knew about them? Stay with me till the end, because what we're about to reveal is mind-blowing. Let's get into it. So, who were the Ice Age Europeans? Ice Age Europeans weren't just a single group of primitive hunters struggling to survive. They were a mix of early human populations who thrived in some of the harshest environments on Earth. But here's where it gets really interesting. Unlike the stereotype of cavemen grunting around a fire, these people were highly skilled. They crafted advanced tools, built shelters, and even created stunning cave paintings that still leave scientists puzzled today. Physically, they weren't all the same either. Some had darker skin with striking blue eyes, while others were lighter-skinned with thick builds, perfectly suited for the brutal cold. They were problem solvers, innovators, and survivors in ways we're only beginning to understand. But where did they actually come from? That's where their haplogroups, genetic fingerprints passed down through generations, come in. Many belong to R1b, I2, and C1 haplogroups, revealing deep ancestral connections to both early Europeans and distant populations in Asia. Some groups braved icy landscapes, migrating across vast regions, while others remained in isolated pockets, evolving in unique ways. And get this, if you have European ancestry, there's a good chance you carry their DNA. Today, their genetic legacy is strongest in Basque, Scandinavian, and Eastern European populations, with traces even found in some indigenous Siberian and Native American groups. But their story doesn't end there. Ice Age Europeans interbred with Neanderthals and Denisovans, inheriting genes that strengthened immune systems, influenced hair and skin, and shaped modern humans. While some lineages survived, others vanished due to climate shifts, resource shortages, and competition. Those who adapted best left behind a lasting legacy, one still hidden in our DNA today. Now, here's the real question. How did they survive in an era when the world was literally freezing over? Surviving the brutal Ice Age was no small feat, yet Ice Age Europeans adapted in ways that set them apart. They mastered fire, built insulated shelters from bones and hides, and crafted fur clothing to trap heat. Unlike Neanderthals, they formed larger social groups, sharing resources and knowledge to endure harsh winters. Their hunting techniques were far ahead of their time. Instead of chasing prey, they studied migration patterns and used teamwork to drive animals into traps or off cliffs. They developed advanced weapons like spears, atlatls, spear throwers, and early bows, allowing them to hunt from a distance and avoid injury. Without modern tools, they shaped stone, bone, and wood into weapons and everyday items. They heat-treated flint for sharper blades and crafted barbed harpoons for fishing. Some of their spear points remain sharper than modern steel. Ice Age Europeans also had medical knowledge. They used herbal remedies, set broken bones, and even performed skull surgeries like trepanation, possibly to relieve pressure from injuries. Skeletons with healed wounds prove they cared for the sick rather than leaving them behind. So, what can we learn from their survival strategies today? Their ability to adapt, innovate, and work together ensured their survival. As we face climate change, their resilience teaches us that survival isn't just about endurance, it's about learning, evolving, and using resources wisely. Now here's something crazy. What if Ice Age Europeans had their own secret writing system? Interesting question, right? Well, here's the answer. For years, experts believed the symbols in their cave paintings were purely decorative or spiritual. But new research suggests they might have been early forms of communication, used to pass down knowledge, track time, or even send messages across vast territories. If true, this would mean written language began thousands of years earlier than we ever imagined. Many Ice Age caves are filled with dots, handprints, and strange geometric shapes, often placed near paintings of animals. Could these symbols have been a code, you may ask? Some researchers believe they marked important hunting grounds, seasonal changes, or migration patterns. Others think they were territorial signs, used to warn outsiders or claim ownership of land. Either way, these markings weren't random. They followed patterns, suggesting a deeper meaning. But here's where it gets even more intriguing. Some of these symbols appear across multiple regions, from France to Spain to even parts of Eastern Europe. That could mean Ice Age Europeans shared a common visual language, much like ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs or early pictographs. And if they used hand signals alongside these symbols, it's possible they even developed a primitive sign language to communicate across groups. So were they just primitive hunters, or were they the first to experiment with written language? If we ever crack their code, we might unlock one of the oldest communication systems in human history. But what if Ice Age Europeans weren't just about survival? What if they had knowledge beyond what we'd expect? Some researchers believe they mapped the stars long before civilizations like the Egyptians or Mesopotamians. Many cave paintings feature star-like patterns that align with constellations, suggesting they tracked celestial movements. But why? One theory is that they used the stars to navigate or even predict seasonal changes, helping them know when to migrate, hunt, or prepare for harsh winters. How then did they measure time even without calendars or clocks? They may have used lunar cycles, marking time with carved symbols on bones and stones. Some ancient artifacts, like the Blanchard bone, contain patterns resembling a primitive lunar calendar, suggesting they had a system for tracking months and seasons. Understanding these cycles was crucial. Hunting at the wrong time could mean starvation. And what about food? While full-scale farming hadn't started yet, some evidence suggests they experimented with early food preservation techniques. They smoked or dried meat to store it longer, and may have even fermented plants to make them more digestible. Their hunting and fishing techniques were also ahead of their time. They set up traps, used fish hooks made from bone, and even constructed weirs, barriers in rivers, to catch fish more efficiently. Now, let's talk about something even more mysterious: their beliefs. Ice Age Europeans didn't just live to survive. They had deep spiritual traditions that we're only beginning to understand. Burial sites reveal that they believed in an afterlife, carefully laying the dead to rest with jewelry, tools, and even animal bones. But why? Some think these were offerings for the next world, while others believe they symbolized status, protection, or a connection to spirits. Some graves even show signs of ritualistic care, suggesting a belief in souls, ancestors, or a greater cosmic order. Shamans, spiritual leaders, healers, or even early scientists may have played a central role in these communities. Dressed in elaborate costumes, possibly made from animal skins, antlers, or feathers, they could have led ceremonies, healed the sick, or interpreted dreams and visions. Their knowledge of herbs, weather patterns, and animal behavior made them both respected and feared. Speaking of animals, these weren't just food. They held deep symbolic meaning. Mammoths, lions, and horses were often painted in caves, possibly as spirit guides, totems, or even deities. Some believe these paintings were part of hunting rituals, a way to connect with the animal's spirit before a hunt. Could these early practices be the roots of organized religion? If so, Ice Age Europeans may have been among the first to seek meaning beyond the physical world. Here's another fascinating thought. Did Ice Age Europeans travel farther than we think? Some researchers believe they may have reached North America thousands of years before anyone thought possible. Stone tools found on the east coast of the US bear a striking resemblance to those made by Ice Age Europeans, suggesting early transatlantic crossings. But what happened to the lost European populations that vanished after the Ice Age? Some were wiped out by changing climates, others merged with new groups, and some simply disappeared, leaving behind only traces in our DNA. There could still be undiscovered sites hidden under glaciers or submerged beneath oceans, waiting to reveal lost civilizations. As ice melts, who knows what ancient secrets will emerge? And here's another mystery. How did their societies function without written laws or formal governments? Instead of kings or rulers, they likely relied on tribal leadership, shared traditions, and survival-based cooperation. Knowledge wasn't recorded in books, but passed down through storytelling, symbols, and rituals. If we unlock their forgotten past, we might discover that Ice Age Europeans were far more connected, intelligent, and adventurous than we ever imagined. But let's bring this back to today. How much of them is still in us? If you have European ancestry, there's a good chance you carry Ice Age DNA. Their genes didn't just vanish, they were passed down through generations, shaping everything from physical traits to immune responses. Some people still carry genetic adaptations that help them survive freezing temperatures, like higher fat retention, dense muscle mass, and even resistance to cold-related diseases. Their haplogroups, the genetic markers that trace deep ancestry, reveal astonishing migration patterns. Many modern Europeans, especially in regions like Scandinavia, the Basque Country, and Eastern Europe, still carry haplogroups R1b, I2, and C1, directly linked to Ice Age populations. But their legacy extends beyond just genetics. Some studies suggest their DNA may have influenced cognitive abilities, problem-solving skills, and even risk-taking behaviors, traits crucial for survival in harsh conditions. And then there's the fascinating connection to Neanderthals and Denisovans. Ice Age Europeans interbred with these ancient hominins, inheriting genes that impact immune function, skin color, and even psychological traits. Some immune defenses we rely on today, especially against viruses, can be traced back to these ancient encounters. Hence, in many ways, they never truly disappeared. Their DNA still shapes us, protects us, and may even influence the way we think. So, what are scientists still trying to uncover? One of the biggest mysteries is their symbolic code. If we could fully decode the strange markings, dots, and geometric shapes found in Ice Age caves, it might reveal lost knowledge, maybe even the earliest form of writing. Some believe these symbols recorded seasonal cycles, hunting patterns, or even spiritual beliefs. But without a clear key, we're still guessing. Archaeologists are also searching for more clues about their daily lives. Many settlements are still buried under ice, forests, or oceans. Could there be undiscovered villages, tools, or even boats that prove they traveled further than we thought? Each new discovery challenges the idea that they were just primitive hunters. Some evidence suggests trade networks, advanced survival techniques, and possibly even long-distance migrations. And speaking of survival, could their way of life help us face climate change today? They adapted to extreme cold, preserved food for long winters, and built shelters that kept them warm without modern technology. Understanding their methods might give us valuable insight into sustainable living in harsh conditions. There's also the question of whether some of their traditions still survive. The answer is yes. Certain remote cultures still practice rituals and survival techniques strikingly similar to those of Ice Age Europeans. For instance, some indigenous groups use ancient hunting methods, tracking animals much like their ancestors did. In Siberia and the Arctic, nomadic herders still rely on fur clothing, ice shelters, and seasonal migrations for survival. Even spiritual practices, such as animal totems and shamanic rituals, echo ancient cave art and burial customs. In conclusion, Ice Age Europeans were more than just hunters. They were survivors, innovators, and possibly keepers of lost knowledge. Their genetic legacy still shapes us. Their symbols may reveal an ancient language, and their survival skills could teach us more than we realize. But have we truly uncovered their secrets? What do you think? Were they more advanced than we imagined? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more. May God bless you all, and I'll see you in the next video.